he passed away. He caught COVID, and he got released, and then he went back to the hospital like 4 days later, and apparently he coughed himself to death. Right, like you can cough so much that you rupture your heart. So this is what happened to him. But I look at cases like that, and I'm like, did he die from COVID, or did he die from just going down a spiral?
Depression.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, everyone gets stuck on, he died from COVID, and I'm like, whoa, he had a lot of things going on, not just medically, but he lost a step. Obviously, he didn't get to play basketball. Like, maybe that man needed it. Clearly, he did. But I'm not trying to take the severity of COVID, but the reality is like, it affected a lot of people indirectly. I mean, I have had 2 friends that I know of that committed suicide. One of my buddies, his old roommate, he was a cop during COVID. His wife left him. He was alone, really couldn't date, right? Because nobody was dating out in LA. And then he's working protests, and they're screaming at him that you should die, pig. Well, anyway, he killed himself. And that was one of 3 that I know. And it aside from catching it, I think the numbers are bigger from, just the wake that it left behind it of depression and, just feeling isolated and alone. But, yeah.
I think that's one of the many side effects that have not been really exposed. And you hear bits and pieces of it. It is coming out. But I think one of the things that a lot of people endure, even if they didn't catch COVID, it was their mental health. And I know we hear a lot of discussion about it now, but you have to check in on people. With our family, we had daily FaceTime room calls just to make sure that everybody was okay. And I have a fairly large family, but the isolation of that, I think, was a very traumatic experience for some people. And I know some people are currently dealing with it. So it's been a lot. People have been through a lot of trauma. And there has to be a time where as Bridget was saying, where do we go from here? How do we handle, all the things that are going on in a personal nature instead of the political infighting that we see? How about we look for ways to help people physically, spiritually, and mentally? That's one of the things I've been asking. How do we help people go through what they have gone through? How do we help them recover?
You have to have a heart, for one. I was speaking about the retreat that we went into today, and just as much as people were emotional, there were those who I know felt, well, why y'all being so daggone emotional? Everything's fine. There are people who have turned off the ability to feel something. And then there's those who feel so deeply that it overwhelms them, and unfortunately, sometimes they take their own lives. But where do we find the balance in all of that? Because at the end of the day, we're really all in this together. I mean, the virus is the virus. It doesn't have a color. It materializes through the air, it's the vapor, it's the this, it's the mist. I mean, they come up with so many different things that it is. But at the end of the day, as a collective, we got to start dealing with the repercussions of the anxiety, of the isolation, of the loss in finances. A lot of people, I remember before statistics used to say that most of the suicides were a direct result of financial stress. I mean, that is a real reality. When people had a job one day, and all of a sudden they didn't have a job, or weren't sure if they were going to have a job. And bottom line is they didn't have enough resources the street, what's going to happen? These are issues that need to be discussed while y'all are passing all these bills that are going nowhere. Because I'm not seeing it materialize out here in the streets. So I need to see what you're actually doing with this $1 trillion bill that you keep passing that gets wrapped up in red tape where can't nobody use it. It's monopoly money as far as I'm concerned. And I can't spend monopoly money. I go to jail trying to buy something with monopoly money. But I'll say, send that bill to my congressman. Because my next letter is going to be, and it's coming soon, what the heck is our money? What are you doing with this money? Do we have access to the money? The businesses, the people who are on unemployment that you all say are pretending they don't want to go to work. And some of them, maybe. But some of them can't get a job because their jobs don't exist anymore. What about them? We have to get a heart. We got to start caring. We got to start being concerned and not just seeing it from one side. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are deadbeats. They were deadbeats before all this started. We ain't talking about them. We're talking about the ones that want to be better. Those that are trying and doing the very best that they can. But because they may have lost their place of residence, maybe even illegally, we got to fix some of this stuff. Or we're going to have a deeper pandemic. So it's so much. It's so much. Do they have access to N95 masks? Those things are freaking expensive. I bought them. And guess when they said take your mask off, I went out and bought a whole bunch of them. Why? Because the price of mine went down. So take your mask off, but I'm not and it did. And then you have to assess, can I allow them into my home? Will they put me at death's door or at risk? Because that's something I have to think about. Yeah, I got extra room, but will that put me at risk? All these are questions we all have to consider. It's tough. It's tough. Oh, Jesus help us. It's Sunday morning, thank you. For some of us, not for all of us, Greg. Arizona. It's not funny.
I called my congressman on that rental moratorium and yelled at him because that was disgusting. How they all just dropped the ball. They knew it was coming, and then they all like kind of looked around like, wait, are you handling this? Are you handling this? Oh well, we should go on vacation, and then they went on vacation.
Like they always do.
And that was disgusting. I even called mine, and I called probably about 11 times. I know it was at least 11, might have been more, but I know 11 because I remember pointing it out on my phone to someone. But
you know what, Greg? You just gave me an idea. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get all of these people out here who got all these arguments and stuff to say, we're going to have to put them to use. We're going to have to start forming some rooms with some phone numbers on it that say, if you're in the Ohio Southern District, come to this room. Because we've been blow it up. Oh, look at that.
They completely shat the bed on it, and they didn't even resolve it. All they did was push it back. And then when that date comes up, which I think is like in 3 or 2 months, they're going to do the same thing. And yet, what's crazy is that, and this, I'm not trying to make light of anything, but when that January 6th thing happened, look how fast they moved to make a commission. Look how fast they moved to, make a dog and pony show with the funeral of those Capitol police officers.
Oh, they wanted to get reelected.
Yeah, look how quick they did that. But God forbid they have to do a rental moratorium that affects the nation as a whole. And, underserved communities. It was such a slap in the face to the American people. I don't know. Like, it's definitely wrong from every angle, and it was both sides. left and the right. No one stepped up.
Clubhouse day, a congressional clubhouse day. Just, a congressional clubhouse day. But there's a room for everyone of each district. Come in and get the information, click some backlinks, and get the documents that you need, and you can just, here's the script. Because we were giving out scripts. We don't just go to D.C. without scripts. Now we fly in and we congregate and we get ourselves in order. There is a process to this. And it's easy. It really is if you're organized. And then you have an inside man and say, look, this is what we're doing. We're meeting on Clubhouse. And we're going to have one of us get representatives to come up in there and put on speakerphone. Because we want you to know how we feel about how you running things. And guess what? That dog won't hunt. Your days are numbered. If you will not support us who are in your congressional district, it may be time for you to step aside and let one of us step up to the plate. Which one would you prefer? To work with us or not? Like young people say, or not. We're going to have to make some changes. And why not use a platform? We already helping them with the algorithm. And God bless them. We're here to help everybody. We want to give our offering. But let us use it to our advantage. Let us leverage it. That's how you get political leverage. You start talking about it and start spreading the word, and before long, instead of this garbage that's being catching on fire, and no shade on anybody that's doing their little thing. But we really need to make sure that we're setting aside time to focus on making an impact. Yeah, with Clubhouse Live 2.0, all nice and fluffy, powerful, amazing. But what are we going to do with all this new power? Because if it's just for us, we're just going to sit back and get fat on it. There's nothing wrong with getting yours.
Yeah, you have to wield it. You have to wield that power. And it's crazy. It's like even going back to that January 6th commission. The only reason they moved that fast is because they got the little feathers ruffled on their own turf. But they don't move. Scared. Yeah, but they don't move that quick when it comes to my community, your community. They just don't move that quick. And that's the problem. They're the problem.
You know what my congressman asked me? Why do you care about that other community? You live out here in the suburbs. I said, because eventually what happens there is going to trickle down here, don't you think? Don't you think?
Well, and then a lot of these people get assigned to a committee. So, I've called people in other districts and they're like, oh, we don't work we don't work in, or you're not in our district. And I'm like, yeah, but your committee, you're on, you're on a committee that affects, the rental moratorium. So yeah, I am relevant. Or, whatever the case may be, anything. Like these guys all sit on committees, they can't sit there. Some of them try to pass you down and be like, oh, you gotta call, you're not part of my constituency, but dude, you're on a committee, bro. And you're making changes on a national level.
Oh, they're a hot mess. I've been there and I'm like, wow, so why do y'all get anything done? And then when we step on the scene, who are all of you all? Where did you come from? Oh, we see you everywhere. I said, we're Americans. You're American. That's who we are. Okay. They get intimidated. I said, well, we are here to do business. We are not here to cause harm. But we made appointments all on the same daggone day. And we are here all day. Actually, all week. If we want to talk to you, we want to make sure that you're listening to your constituents and hearing us about our concerns. Because we're not going to stop. And we're powerful. We're powerhouse. You don't want to mess with us. Because there is power in numbers. It truly is. And now all the disruption that happened in January, I'm like, y'all just doing too much. I really couldn't use that for us. Y'all should have redirected that energy. Because there's a better way to do things. But they were there for a different purpose. We need those who are leaders in Clubhouse who have all these powerhouse rooms who want to debate. Okay, now what action can you take? I want to see some action behind that because I ain't going to respect you until I see you doing some action. Like you just might be out of time. I'm just being real. I'm from the old school. You might be a punkity punk punk. But if all you want to do is get over there and argue and go back and forth and yin and yang, okay, you're a punk then. I'm so sorry. Get some letters written. Don't just debate and get fired up, ready to go. Write some letters. Start doing something with it. Make an impact. But stop. Everybody's not on the same page with being educated and doing things. And then they get into trouble and their heads get on a platter. So they get caught up in emotion. Isn't that what you said, Greg? Emotion. It's about emotion. And that song about emotion. Oh, but we're in the 10K Cards house, and I tell you, we're about action. Why? Because 10K is about action. And that's what I like about this family, this group that we put together, that we have self-congregated together and drawn to each other because we're about action and taking those steps. Because what people don't know is, I think we talked about this the other day, Greg, 25 people can come together and say, I want this change, and get a small change. 25 people. Wow.
Oh yeah, you can definitely rock a boat with just going to their office, because I'm telling you, these guys are very egocentric. I've seen it. I've lived in at least 4 different communities where I've utilized this, but they get enough phone calls, they start panicking. Like, oh my God, I'm they're going to vote against me. It's all vanity with these guys.
It really is. And the sad part is people get caught up in that, and then they try to reenact that, except they're not good imposters. You have to be true to who you are. And then that's when we have all these disruptions that distract from what's really happening. Instead of y'all going up on the hills and tearing up some stuff, let's talk about what change really needs to take place so that we can all survive this. So this is a survival thing as well. Even if you're in denial about, is it a virus or is or is it ain't? Okay, whatever. So let's talk about how we're going to live together and survive, because last time I checked, a lot of people didn't have jobs. A lot of kids were out of school. There was a lot of change that was happening. So what are we going to do about it? And those people, I say bullies are cowards, and that is for a reason. They're bullies or cowards. They really are. And it hasn't been. And they'll throw the rock and hide the hand. But you know what? We have to change the vibration of it all and stand up and make a difference. And I, for one, am one of those that will write letters, will make phone calls, will go to your office if I have to, just to get change to happen, because it means something.
Your story with the zip code cracks me up.
Oh, the zip
I told my 2 partners about it. I'm like, that's how you get shit done. That's crazy.
See, you all have to remind me of this, because I was telling Greg about something, and he was like, wait a minute, did you say y'all changed the zip code? I'm like, yeah. Like that, you just breeze past that. That's what we did. Because we decided that we did not want to be under the same tax code. It was about money, too, as the rest of the communities, because we were brand new and we were already being heavily levied. And they're like, oh, we want you to be this zip code. We're like, no, that's not who we are. We're in a township, and we're going to stay in a township. Oh, yeah, you're in a township. You're going to use a different zip code. No. It won't be long before you tax us the same way as that zip code. So let us make sure that we change that. They said, well, you have to go through these steps to change it. And we went there and we met. It was 3 of us. And we said, what must we do to get our zip code changed? They said, these are the number of signatures that you would need, the majority in your community. You all will have to go door to door. And we split up. We broke the neighborhood up into quadrants. And we got the signatures. After we had the support of one of the members of the board of trustees that said, they owe me a favor. This is one I can push through if you all get this. And at the same time, pass out my flyers so people know who helped make this change, so I can get reelected. It was a win-win. So we did that. It took us an entire summer. to get it done. And we felt so empowered. And once we turned in the votes, we went to the Board of Trustees. We presented it on speaker for public, for everybody to watch it. And a lot of people don't know this. They can watch when they're your Board of Trustees meeting. Tune in. Go to the website. Tune in to the meeting. See what they decide about your neighborhood. They're making all the decisions. And so we went in there and we presented. We made a nice presentation. And I said, and this is what we demand. And we want to see if you all can make this happen as quickly as possible. And we got the zip code change. And then we celebrated. Everyone was so happy. Yay, we got the zip code change. So that matters because down the line, now today, here we are 17 years later. Only reason I know this is the case came back. And they have that same zip code and everybody's living off of the abundance, even though I don't live there anymore. I reap the harvest off of that. The South Side effect is annoying. So people who think that they can't make changes, yes, they can. And when we found out how many signatures we needed, we said, okay, we're going to go 10 to 20% above this if we can, just to make sure that it's guaranteed. It didn't take long, but we made that change. And it was because we were unified and we said, no, this is going to impact everything. And you know what? The three of us were the only ones who actually went to the board meetings and paid attention when we were in the board meeting. He's like, I don't want to go there. That's boring. We're like, you know what? We'll put together a newsletter, a summary of what's discussed. How about that? As long as you show up when it's time to vote. Because if you don't, you will not like the outcome of what they decide. So they're always going to take the prices up, the assessment up. So here's the exchange. We'll tell you everything that happens, but we need you to show up when it's time to vote. Or give us your process. That's how you leverage. And that's how you change laws. So I'm really excited. And Greg, he has really bad reception. So he gets dropped sometimes. But yeah, so that's how we did it. So ladies, it is 1:54 at 2 o'clock. We out of here at 2 o'clock because I got to go to bed. It's 6 minutes, and I don't know what time. So I think that Queen Bridget in Carolina, she is at 12:54. Yeah, she's an hour behind. You have a good day.
I was saying the same thing. All right, I'm going to be out at 2 o'clock because I'm listening and reviewing floor plans all at the same time. Like, okay, it's time to go to bed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love to multitask. It makes me feel like I'm not working alone. That's what makes me feel like I'm working all the time. Because if I'm on Clubhouse, if I'm on my roadcaster thing, I'm typically at my desk. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, I can get work done because I like it. I have a sit-stand desk, so I can stand and sit and stand and sit. Mm-hmm. And it keeps me moving because my Apple Watch is like, you need to move. You need to move.
I know, mine does the same thing.
So it's fun. I was like, yeah, I need to move. Oh, I love it. And then Bridget sent the link for the CDC report, and I'm going to look through that later. I love data and everything. Oh, it just does something. One of my doctors said, you always come in here with your iPad with data when you come in for your physical. Are you an engineer? I said, why would you ask me if I'm an engineer? He said, because of the way you present data and the way you think. He said, the only people who do that are engineers. I said, well, I'm not an engineer. I play one on television. I said, I like numbers. And numbers don't lie, so you're going to tell me why my creatine levels are here. What does that mean? Because my research data says this. He's like, your creatine levels are on the low end. I said, yes, but they're higher than they should be. And I want to catch it early, whatever it may be.
Is Bridget still here?
I might be like Queen Melissa. Have you noticed that Melissa's icon doesn't move? Queen Bridget is in the house.
Okay, I'm still here. I'm holding on by a very thin thread.
We're doing a countdown to 4 minutes. And Queen Melissa, she's like me. She has 2 accounts, but she could be in another room. But I highly doubt that because she has an expiration time, and she starts snoring around 12:35. We timed it. And they're like, "Who's that snoring?" I was like, "That's I got her. I know who it is."
I'm just sitting here listening. I'm like I said, I got one eye open, one eye.
Oh, I thought about you when I went to that Bigger Pockets recommendation on that podcast that what is his name gave us last night? I can't think of his name right now. But I went to it and I thought about you, and I was like, I hope they make the connection because he seems like he needs a lot of investment property, and you're getting back into him like, oh, what a great connection. All you have to do is make a phone call.
That was I met as a matter of fact, I was thinking about Bigger Pockets today and thinking about some of their videos.
Oh yes, I love it. Yes, I haven't been on Bigger Pockets in probably a year and a half. Oh, yeah, it's been a long time. Yes, because I bought all the books. Because when I joined their membership when I first signed up, I was consuming so much information, and it just led me down a residential retail arbitrage vortex, and I felt like I could do anything. Oh, it empowered me, but I still needed more education.
I'm like that too. As far as I am a junkie when it comes to just learning and gaining, more knowledge on. If it's something that I'm interested in, I'll just keep going and going and going and looking for more things about doing it. And it's not good either because what I'll usually, when it comes to my business, I'll take more things on that for me to do instead of just finding and outsourcing things because I am a junkie to know how things get done or need to work.
That's the commitment I made this year. I set a limit on the amount of time I'm willing to go down a certain path because I'm like, I'm not going to do like I've done in the past and have all these different balls juggling it up in the air at the same time. So I said, if it doesn't relate to what I'm doing now, I'm not going in that direction. It has to all be connected. And that was my promise to myself because I realized that I was spending a lot of time on, while valid, worthwhile activities, I didn't have the time to bring anything to the fullness of the vision that God had given me. I said, Lord, help me focus on one thing at a time, see it to its fulfillment, and if it doesn't connect, pull it out of my heart, because I'll get sucked in. Because Grant Cardone said this in the room a couple weeks ago. He said, you don't have to know how you're going to do something. You just need to know where you're headed and your destination. And you need to stay focused on the destination. He said, every business that I have is funneling and feeding the other one. Everything's related. It's like a wheel. Everything's connected. I said, okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I got to stay focused. Oh, it's 2:00, ladies. Oh!
All right, we made it.
Love you
We
guys.
made it, and we're going to end it right here, right now. It's time to go home. You ain't got to go home, but you might have to get up out of here. But I'm leaving either way.
Me too.
10K is probably sleep now.
Have a great one.
I see him here in the other room. Oh, he's still over there. 1,300 people. Oh, these people need to go to bed. Oh, the devil is alive. I'm going to bed.
Me too. Have a good night, ladies. It was great
Good
talking
night,
to you.
ladies.
See
Good
you.
night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.